G'day everyone and welcome to the Kangaroo Chronicles Science in Salzburg. Today we're going to do a little bit more of an exciting experiment than the toilet paper exercise from yesterday. And we're going to look at something that maybe you can deal with if you go out for a walk in the forest, if you're allowed to go out for a walk, that is. And we're going to look at something very, very simple. We're looking at the structure of a pine cone. And what you know in a pine cone, when it's dry, it opens and the seeds fall out. And if it's wet, and we put it inside here, in this water, and we can do an experiment, and we let this thing sit in there long enough, eventually it's going to close. Now, it turns out this takes quite a while. So we've already prepared one pine cone that's been already wet, and it's taken quite a long time to close. And you can see if we leave this now out in here, tomorrow is going to be open again. So it's quite a cool structure because it means that it's a dead material that somehow reacts to the surrounding environment. Okay, so I've got my helper here who's filming, which is great. And this process takes too long for kids. So we can fill some time, but it's a long experiment, and we want to do something a little bit faster. But it turns out you can do something very simple. You can get some sticky tape and a piece of paper, just ordinary printing paper or drawing paper or something like that. And you take a piece of sticky tape like this and you stick it on your piece of paper. And then what we can do is we can cut it out like so and like so. That. Okay, so we now have a piece of sticky tape. It's no sticky tape on one side, it's just paper. On the other side, we've got a shiny piece of sticky tape. Now, I'm going to grab the camera and we'll make sure that we don't get any fighting here. We're going to try and do this together. Here, we've got a pair of hands right here. And can you move what you want? Now, one pair of hands on the right-hand side can pour some water into the plate. Yeah, so now I've got a lot of water here, and my other helper can put this piece of paper with the sticky tape on there. Let's see what we can see what's happening. Okay, we see this very fast motion, bending motion of this sticky tape and this piece of paper. So we'll give the camera back. So what's happening here is you've got one material which doesn't react with water, so it doesn't absorb water, it doesn't swell. And the other side swells because it's paper and it absorbs water and it increases its volume. And now if you imagine you have two things stuck to each other, one that swells and one that doesn't, if they're really well glued to each other, you're going to get bending motion occurring. And this is exactly the same sort of thing that is occurring in the pine cone. Now, you can play with lots of different things. You can play with different types of paper. You can play with different sorts of shapes. And hopefully this gives you something that you can investigate together with your kids in these interesting times. I wish you all the best and lots of health, and we'll see you again tomorrow.